Every guy knows that to get a better physique, he has to be training hard and lifting weights inside of the gym. But what if I told you that there were some ways which you could implement that potentially overnight could make your physique look far, far better, and it doesn't even involve training and lifting weights in the gym? That's why in this video, I'm going to go through 6 methods that you can implement to make your physique look better. Now, before we start, for all you lazy motherfuckers who heard this and thought, oh, sick, this means I don't have to train hard or diet intensively. That is not true at all. Diet and training is going to make up the fundamental base of your results, and obviously you have to be doing this, but it's these methods that can act as a cherry on top to emphasize your physique and make it stand out even more in the real world. The first thing that you can do is to get a tan. It's to start going outside, bro. A lot of the time, gym bros, we're just concerned with going to the gym, lifting weights, and getting bigger. But there's a reason why the guys who live over in Bali who are famous on social media, in fact, most of the guys who are famous on social media for their physiques, you'll notice one thing. They're not only shredded and fucking jacked, but they are also really tanned. And the reason why being tanned is so beneficial towards your physique is because it creates more contrast, especially in the lighting that these guys are using inside of the gym, this yellowy kind of lighting. It will make your physique stand out incredibly because you're able to cast better shadows and cast light downward on your body, and it makes it simply just stand out more. And you've probably seen this yourself. Just going to the gym where there is a yellow light versus a blue light has made a crazy result on your physique in the posing room or just in the gym mirror. Now, if this is already happening to you, imagine what you could do if you use this yellow downlighting and perfect angles and got tanned as well. You would be able to shave off numerous percent of body fat and make yourself look kilos or pounds heavier. And another reason why it is beneficial for your physique is because it's simply going to improve your testosterone. When we consume a lot of vitamin D from going outside, going on walks, we're promoting vitamin D synthesis inside of our body, which is simply going to be better for our health markers. We're going to improve our testosterone, we're going to look and feel better, and as a byproduct, we're going to be able to build muscle quicker and more efficiently and get leaner and have a better body composition as a result. So if you're not going for daily walks right now outside in the sun, even walking around shirtless sometimes in your neighborhood, I would recommend that. I came back from overseas and people were complimenting my physique about getting bigger when all I did was get tanned. Now, method number 2 might sound stupid, but it is to simply dress yourself properly. A lot of the guys in the gym, they're wearing stringers, they're wearing tank tops, they look fantastic when they're posing inside of the mirror, and you're probably doing this yourself. You wear this big ass shirt and you take it off to reveal your pumped up physique, bicep veins everywhere, looking great. But then for most guys, when they step out of the gym, they go from this massive aesthetic monster looking incredible to just a regular guy that doesn't even stand out on the street. And I never understood why guys do this. Why the fuck would you put all this work into the gym, building muscle, building an aesthetic physique, getting lean, training super hard for years on end, all to not even show it off in the real world? Why do you only get the 20 minutes of glory when you have a pump? This is incorrect. This is stupid. You should be showing off what you have built inside of the real world everywhere you go. Because honestly, it is an unfair world. Why the fuck are you not using your standout traits as an advantage of the real world? Because if you're being honest, the reason why you started the gym was probably to get girls, probably to get respect and attraction. But you're covering it up by wearing a baggy ass shirt that shows no muscle, and people can't even tell that you lift. Like, people nowadays are using all sorts of drugs, all sorts of steroids, all sorts of enhancements. So why the fuck aren't you proud of your most natural achievement, which is building a physique? Okay, so what I would do and what I implemented myself, because I used to dress like an absolute gym cell. I used to dress in like these silly gym clothes, and then outside of the gym, I just look like a normal guy. I would recommend wearing shapely clothes, and you need to do what's called building the aesthetic masculine wardrobe. Now, this includes things like having a simple color scheme with tank tops that fit well, with slim fit shirts, and with other outfits that aid to emphasize and accentuate your shape and your body, because you don't want to be wearing these super baggy shirts out in public where people can't even see that you lift. Now, you're probably sitting here and thinking, well, yeah, fuck, he is right. He has told me that I'm not packaging my physique correctly, and that is kind of true. I'm not wearing the correct stuff, and I'm not even showing off what I built in public. And if this is you, then I am 100% sure that what I teach inside of my community will help you, because I'll teach you how to build the aesthetic physique, but I also will teach you how to package it in the real world so you can get social and dating success and actually stop being invisible, because the real reason why we built the physique was to get noticed. So why the fuck would you not want that? okay? So check the link in the description if you're interested. And with that said, we're moving on to method number 3. Now, method number 3 is going to be about improving our vascularity. You see, there is nothing more attractive, guys, than a dude who has a vascular, veiny physique. When you have a pump, the determinant of what gives you a good pump, well, is obviously your muscle size and how full your muscles look, but also how fucking veiny you look. Like, if you're determining if you got a good bicep pump, you're looking at your forearms, and if they aren't veiny, you got to lift some more weights, bro. So we need to be doing everything in our power to improve our pump, and we can do this by improving our vascularity through greater production inside of our body of something called nitric oxide. And this is going to be the propellant of what allows our body to have better blood flow. And that's because it allows for something called vasodilation to occur. And what vasodilation is the widening and the relaxation of blood vessels, allowing more blood to flow to certain areas. Now, obviously, as we're training and as we're getting bigger and building more muscle, the demands of our body to maintain the muscle, the active tissue, is going to grow. So we're going to have greater blood volume and we're going to get bigger pumps in general. That is why you see guys that are on steroids, they have these massive ass veins because they need so much blood flow to maintain their active muscle tissue. But for us, what we can do is naturally improve our nitric oxide production and the level of which we can vasodilate by consuming more L-citrulline in our diet. And one specific food that I would recommend for this is watermelon. This can be a great pre-workout food and it will help you to boost your blood flow so you can get those epic, sick pumps. And this alone can make your physique look 10% better just inside of the gym. Number 4 kind of directly ties into this, and it is to get to a low body fat percentage. There are multiple reasons as to why they say lean is law, and I can absolutely attest to this. When you are lean, you get to cast more shadows. And if you combine this with being tanned as well, you are going to look way bigger than what you actually are just through lighting and just when you get a good pump. When you're leaner, your muscles will also protrude more through the skin, which, is going to in turn mean your veins will protrude more as well. So you're going to look more pumped all the time, even when relaxed. That's why you see lean guys walking around the street and they have massive ass veins in their arms. And I noticed that I'm getting more of these veins myself as I have gotten leaner, as I'm cutting down my body weight. Now, you've heard it all before, 8 to 12% body fat is the goal that we should be aiming for. And we're going to do this by limiting our calories. And if we want to tie this all in and get the best of all worlds of maximizing our physique without training harder, lifting weights specifically, we're going to get lean by expending calories. But we're going to do this instead of walking on the treadmill inside of the gym like a lab rat. We are going to walk outside with our shirt off, and that way we are going to not only get tan from the sun and improve our testosterone and vitamin D synthesis, but we are also going to be able to get lean as well. And at that point, we're going to get the best of all worlds. Now, number 5, guys, is something that you probably haven't really considered in your gym lifting journey, and that is to posture max. That is to fix your posture and not to become one of those guys who can't even touch their back. You've probably seen those big ass bodybuilders who can't even reach around and grab something from behind their back, okay? We are building a physique to not only be attractive, we are building our physique to be functional. And honestly, one point of being attractive is to be able to move well, okay? Honestly, let's be real, bro. You don't want to be fucking a chick in bed and you can't even do certain positions because you've been lifting weights too rigidly and you don't have any mobility and you can't even move your hips or your shoulders in any position, okay? This is probably the brutal reality for some of these massive ass bodybuilders. So I beg you to work on your mobility, okay? Just warming up before your workouts is good, but you should also be investigating where your mobility restrictions are. And honestly, in a lot of cases, guys will struggle to build muscle just like I did in certain points of their body where they have poor mobility. For example, my upper chest has never really been able to contract properly, and that is because I naturally have a more rounded body, so my shoulders are overcompensating. So I'm doing everything it takes right now so that I can fix this movement restriction, this mobility limitation, so I can train properly and build the aesthetic physique. Now, one specific way that I've found that is very, very good and very niched out on how to improve your mobility is rotational exercise. A lot of the times in the gym, we are very static. We are doing bilateral, which means both hand lifts. We're doing bench press, we're doing squats, we're doing deadlifts. We're doing stuff that makes us very still and requires a lot of bracing. But if you do things that are rotational, specifically fighting and combat sports. This will not only improve your gains by helping you boost your testosterone, growth hormone, everything like that, but it will also provide you with a lot of rotation, because when you throw a punch, you are actually rotating your torso. Unlike doing high rocks and other popular exercises where they use weight and it is weight bearing and they are rotating, boxing, kickboxing, doing fighting movements under body weight will not grow your external obliques nearly as much as it will when you're weight bearing. Now, why this is so important is because, again, if we want the lean, female gaze aesthetic physique, which I teach you how to build by checking the link in the description, we don't want massive blocky waists. We want to keep our waist nice and thin so we can emphasize our V-taper. And when we're doing body weight rotation through fighting under hundreds and thousands of reps, we are naturally going to loosen our body up, loosen our rib cage up, and have better motion while not getting clunky and building too much external oblique mass. Now finally, method number 6 is glycogen maxing. Now you've probably heard the gym bros all the time everywhere about getting cool for the summer, getting cut, and people are on day 1 of their cut and they're doing a glycogen refeed. Now glycogen is simply stored carbohydrate energy that gets stored inside of your muscles and inside of your liver. So that's why guys have this big obsession on why they need to refill their glycogen, because what it actually does is it binds with water and it makes your muscle bellies look more round and more full. That's why if you're on a cut, if you're limiting carbs, or if you're doing keto like I've done myself, which is where you eliminate carbs, you will lose weight, but you will look really flat, and that is because you're depleting yourself primarily of glycogen. So we need to be looking as best as possible, which means we need to be glycogen maxing all the time. And to do this optimally, we need to be staying hydrated. We need to be consuming a good amount of carbs to fuel our workouts and remain pumped throughout the day, even on rest days. And we want to be hydrated all the time. Guys think that if they drink water, they will bloat too much, but this is actually the opposite. When you don't drink enough water, your kidneys will start to signal that you need water. So it's going to retain. It thinks you're in survival mode. It's in scarcity mode. So it's going to retain water. And that is when you're going to experience things like facial bloating, stomach bloating, and you're going to look worse. So drink your water, be consistent with it. And that way you're going to look full and your body is going to flush out the amount of water it needs to flush out and not retain too much. So there you have it. There are 6 non-weightlifting ways that you can make your physique look better. And some of these will work overnight. Now, again, if you're a man and you need help building the aesthetic body and getting the real result in the real world where you don't feel invisible anymore, go through the full self-improvement transformation just like I did. Then check the link in the description and I hope to see you inside the community. But with that being said, remember that progress is purpose. I hope this has helped and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.